It all started about a month before June 2nd, 2014, when he was diagnosed. And in the beginning of May, he started having, I guess he had some strep throat, maybe an ear infection, just he was running fever. He was playing baseball, take the medicine, was do better, but never really was never really well from that time when he got sick.
I was the one that took Andrew initially to the doctor because he was running fever, would not go away. He came back into the room and said to me, with an envelope full of the test results, "Can you take him to Batson right now?" He didn't want to say for sure, but that's when I knew that this is probably what we're looking at, is leukemia.
I told him God's providence and His sweet providence had him becoming a man, at 8 instead of 18. And so I told him he had cancer, and it began immediately. I mean, in that moment, that day, they started preparing the processes of just initial treatment. They started x-rays. We went to the x-ray room. On up to our introduction to 3C, the cancer floor here.
Right here still.
Is this better than the incentive spirometer?
It'd probably be a good choice. For a little while, but he's doing better.
Look at you! A little bluegrass up in here.
The beauty of Blair Batson being in a children's hospital instead of an adult hospital is they've got a full staff children's life specialist. They had this stuffed animal that had all the equipment, a port, chemo lines, everything that they were doing to Andrew. They had that, show what's happening to him.
Batson was very intentional about preparing the parents, preparing you to be able to take care of your child.
Every single thing is geared towards caring for children. And their families.
8, 9, 10.
About 98% of children, and these percentages go crazy all the time, get the initial kind of remission, if you can even call it, remission properly, but can beat back and kill all that leukemia on the front end. Of course, Andrew was the 2%. He didn't. He failed the initial, what they call induction treatment.
Leukemia is different, than some cancers because it's such a long treatment process. Andrew, as a boy, had to go through 3 years, 4 months, and 19 days of initial treatment.
The treatment leading to bone marrow transplant is brutal. He had to live through full body radiation. He had to go through all the initial chemo to kill everything again, and then prepare for the bone marrow transplant, where they kill all of your existing system. To do that, he couldn't be in the children's hospital anymore, because the bone marrow unit, you have to be in the adult side, and so he lost everything. As they say, a child is not a little adult, they are a child. But fortunately, the staff with all the bone marrow unit, this wasn't their first time. They worked through that, so all the people on the adult side just did everything in the world to accommodate him and to be there for him. And it was hard, but it helped, because the experience he had. He goes down for his treatment and he comes back, and they have decorated his room with St. Louis Cardinals and Mississippi State Bulldogs.
We get to December and January, and he's doing well. He is 100% engrafted still with donor cells, but something isn't quite right. He's not breathing as well as he was, just out of breath, shortness of breath, and he's always had asthma, so we kind of, okay, maybe it's asthma, that kind of thing.
We get him into the hospital, and about every 8 to 12 hours after getting him into the hospital, more information is found.
They ran some tests during the day on Friday, And when the ICU doctors called us into the family room and said that he has interstitial pneumonia, that they didn't think he was going to make it 48 hours. And I asked them, I said, do we need to get his sisters here? Andrew has 3 older sisters, so that they could see him. And she says, yes. And I turned to our oncology doctor and I said, so you mean to tell me we have been through everything that we have been through, and this is how this is gonna end?
We had to call the family in because you may not make it through the weekend.
I don't know, what happened, but over that weekend we've had family coming in and things, seeing Andrew. And at some point, sitting with him in the ICU, on the vent, about to die, there was a peace that came over me. This is not how this is going to end.
Made it through the weekend, and since he made it through the weekend, he had a 50-50 shot of making it. And as the PICU says here, we do pretty good with 50-50, and they did. And he stayed on the breathing machine some 14, 15 days, stayed in intensive care, and eventually he built up, the strength to be able to be with the Diamond Dogs for the Governor's Cup, as they were following him along the entire way.
What's up, Andrew? We're about to play Alabama, game 2 here on a Saturday. Just want to let you know that I've been praying for you. I want you to keep fighting and don't give up, baby. I'll talk to you real soon. I'll see you April 23rd.
Able to start getting into a wheelchair so you sit up and be with them. You take a step or two.
He's had such a hard recovery from all of that, being on the vent and being sick. He keeps going. We're still here, and we are being taken care of by all of these great people here at Batson.
They bring the full weight of experience and knowledge of well over 200 children's hospitals and oncology cancer treatment centers all over the world into the expertise of these particular doctors. And we can just tell you those stories over and over again. I'm doing it anyways because it's Andrew, and I just know we're going to do it this way because I'm not taking a chance. It's going in that direction. The experience, the know-how has saved his life over and over again. There have been no living with Andrew and treating him without Blair Batson